What is going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Full 90. It is time for week 26 Premier League predictions. Here are the winning accumulators we sent out to the members on the Patreon and on the YouTube channel memberships community tab. We actually dabbled with the correct scores a little bit. I only posted 2 correct scores. One of them was West Brom 1, Southampton 1. That ended 2-0 to Southampton, so that was a bit of an L. But Lyon 1-0 against Nice. That was odds of 7.5. We had the high odds Belgian fourfold. I picked the result for these 3, but Club Brugge, I thought about them winning and didn't like it, so I went both teams to score. Good thing I did, because it ended 1-1. We had the La Liga double with Atletico Madrid to win it. They beat Las Palmas 5-0, and Barcelona and both teams to score, which was 2-1. The Europa League, both teams to score treble, some good ones there. The recent Champions League double, Inter Milan and Dortmund to win 1-1. We actually predicted PSV Dortmund to draw 1-1 if you checked the recent Champions League video. Another tip we gave actually in a recent Premier League video was Liverpool to win and Ivan Toney to score against Brentford, and that was, well, Toney to score against Liverpool, but Liverpool to win with him to score. The odds were 6.5. We have the away days double, Brighton, Manchester United, the Liga winners double, the Dutch double with AZ Alkmaar and Sparta Rotterdam and Excelsior, the triple 20 double, which is 2 picks with odds of 1.8, Inter Milan win to 0, and Southampton double chance under 3.5 goals. That was the Southampton West Brom game, so that was a hedge against the potential game ending in like a 1 or a 2-0 win to Southampton like it did. Flashing up on the screen are the members that have joined the Patreon, the first screen being the most recent ones and the other 2 the other members of the Patreon. So if you want to get shouted out in every single video and flash up on the screen and see your name, then you can join the Patreon using the link in the description. You can also get exclusive access to the members tips and accumulators like the ones I just showed and went through with you on the screen. So if you want to do that, click the link in the description, join over on Patreon, and thank you so much all of you for the support, and thank you for 26,400 subscribers on the YouTube channel. With that being said, let's delay no further. Kicking off the first fixture we have is Aston Villa up against Nottingham Forest, and Aston Villa, I think they are going to get the better of Forest here. They got a very good victory at Craven Cottage last time out against Fulham, and Nottingham Forest also a very good victory last time out against West Ham, winning 2-0. So I think both teams are going to score in this game. Forest looked good for a goal, but I think Aston Villa at Villa Park, despite a little bit of a wobble recently there, I'm going to go for a 3-1 win to Aston Villa, and the tip is just going to be Aston Villa to win at 1.53. That's a nice little addition to any accumulator. You could look at Aston Villa and both teams to score, probably odds of about 3, I'd imagine, but I think, as I said, to add to an accumulator perhaps, or even just a little single, Aston Villa to win at 1.53 looks pretty good. I think they're going to win. They're pushing for 4th spot. Man United creeping up the table behind them, as well as Tottenham they've got to watch out for, so I think they can kick off the match week with a win. After that, it's Brighton up against Everton. Everton Crystal Palace drew 1-1. We predicted under 2.5 goals and a draw in that fixture, and Brighton, we tipped over 2.5 goals in their game against Sheffield United, and they ended up winning 5-0. I think with one team coming for 1-1, Everton will be disappointed they didn't beat Crystal Palace, but Brighton will be full of confidence. I know it's only Sheffield United who have conceded a ton of goals this season so far, but they'll be buoyed by that performance. I'm going to give it to Brighton, home form, Brighton to win 2-1, and my tip is Brighton to win at 1.83. I think they can get the job done here. Speaking of getting the job done here, it's go time now for Crystal Palace. Departed ways with Roy Hodgson, their first fixture at Selhurst Park, and it's going to be up against Burnley, who came off the back of a 5-0 defeat to Arsenal. We tipped Arsenal -1 handicap in that one, and it came in. I think Crystal Palace, new manager bounce, at home, do or die. They really need to pick up some points. They do not want to get relegated. I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Crystal Palace against Burnley, and just the odds of Crystal Palace to win at 1.95 looked good enough for me, so Crystal Palace to win there. After that, Manchester United up against Fulham. Rasmus Højlund has found his shooting boots, and to be fair, I've always sort of thought that Højlund looked pretty clinical, even when scoring goals in the Champions League before he broke that deadlock in the Premier League. He doesn't get the kind of chances that Haaland gets. He's not afforded the luxury of missing chances like Haaland or even like Darwin Núñez or Gabriel Jesus even have been able to miss, because they get given so many chances. Up until recently especially, he's had very little to work with, but when he gets the chance, he finishes quite emphatically. So that's looking good for Manchester United. They are firing one of 3 undefeated teams of the calendar year, along with their blue-sided rivals in Manchester City and Arsenal as well. So I think Man United are going to continue their winning run. I think Fulham can get a goal. I think they are going to score. So I'm going to go for a 3-1 win to Manchester United, and the tip is going to be Man United to win and both teams to score at 2.87. After that, we travelled down to the south coast right near me for Bournemouth up against Manchester City. I thought maybe Man City would go mental and win this one like 5-0, but then I thought, actually, no. Bournemouth have been looking good this season. They played very well at St. James's Park against Newcastle, and I think it's actually going to be quite close. Also, adding on to that, Man City have been pretty, boring lately. They've been sort of getting the job done. I mean, they drew 1-1 against Chelsea, but before that, they were 0-0 with Everton for the vast majority of the game and ended up winning, and then they were 0-0 with Brentford for like 70 minutes of the game. One mistake from Brentford, City get a goal, win 1-0. It's boring, but I think Man City are just doing what title winners do, and that's getting wins even when it's a little bit ugly, and I could see this being very similar here. So I'm going to go for a 2-1 win to Manchester City. I wouldn't even delve into the overs market. I wouldn't want to dabble in the half-time, full-time market, and whilst I think Bournemouth can score, I wouldn't want to go City and both teams to score. I genuinely don't know. However, one thing I do think is that City will find a way to get the 3 points. That's the one thing I'm fairly certain of. So the tip is just going to be Man City to win at 1.44, and those odds, Man City at 1.44 to beat Bournemouth, just show the kind of state of play at the moment. City are susceptible to kind of slipping up, even if they look unbeatable. There is a small chance for Bournemouth to get something from this game. Like, the odds are here saying that it's less likely that City beat Bournemouth than Arsenal beat Newcastle, which is our next game, which I think is absolutely insane. I was very shocked at the low odds. But speaking of that, let's get right into it. Arsenal up against Newcastle. Arsenal to win fetches you a terrible, pitiful price of 1.36. So Newcastle double chance honestly looks like a really good pick, but I can't go for it. I do think Arsenal are much better than Newcastle. It's at the Emirates, and I think Arsenal are going to get the result. But still, a hedge against an Arsenal win, especially as an Arsenal fan, doesn't sound like a terrible idea to consider Newcastle double chance, but I do think the Gunners are going to win. They've broken the record for most goals scored in the first 5 matches in the Premier League of a calendar year with 21, beating out United's, I think it was United's 99 side who scored 20. Arsenal scored 21. So I think Arsenal are going to continue their form. I'm very excited to watch them in the Champions League tonight against FC Porto. That's come at a pretty good time for Arsenal as well. So Newcastle will be a little bit more rested, but I'm still going to go for an Arsenal win. Arsenal 3-1, and the tip is going to be Arsenal and both teams to score at 2.62. I think it's possible. I think they can get the win. It should be noted that Chelsea and Tottenham's game is postponed, and also Liverpool's game is postponed as well, because they have the League Cup final as well to contend with on the Sunday. So there's only 8 fixtures in this video. So moving on to the penultimate one, we have Wolverhampton Wanderers up against Sheffield United. Wolves beat Tottenham 2-1 away from home. Phenomenal result for them. Sheffield United battered at home Bramall Lane by Brighton 5-0. I think this is going to be a Wolves win. I'm going to go for a 2-0. So it's the only team, Sheffield United, that I've predicted not to score this game week, which is quite something, to be honest. But I think Wolves are going to win. 2-0. The tip is Wolves to win at 1.5. I wasn't brave enough to go Wolves -1. Obviously, with a 2-0 result, you're not looking at overs. It's pretty risky to go unders, especially after Sheffield United conceded 5. They concede a lot. So I wasn't sure where else to go other than a Wolves win. So perhaps a little treble of Aston Villa, Man City and Wolves to win. All odds of about 1.5, but together maybe making up odds of, around 3. So I think that could be pretty good. So I'm going to go Wolves to win 2-0. And the final fixture, West Ham up against Brentford. This is going to be an interesting one. West Ham obviously losing out to Nottingham Forest, and then Brentford getting battered in the end by Liverpool. As I said, we predicted Liverpool to win and Ivan Toney to score, and that happened. I genuinely don't know where to go for this one. It could be a West Ham win, it could be a draw, it could be a Brentford win, and when that's the case, you kind of stay away from the result market. I'm going to go for it. I'm going to go for a 2-2 draw, and my tip is going to be both teams to score at 1.66. I think it's going to be an entertaining game, and I hope we see some goals, but I genuinely can't pick a winner, can't separate the two. So that is going to do it for the week 26 predictions. If you did enjoy, please do drop a like, leave your predictions for the scores down in the comments below, and why not also include the League Cup final prediction down there as well. I hope you have enjoyed this video. Click the Patreon to get involved with exclusive members tips and accumulators, and I will see you in the next video very soon.